What would Muhammad Ali have said about the recent murder of Mike Brown in Ferguson, Missouri?
You're making a moral appeal to a country that doesn't have a moral conscience. The question becomes that when white people feel serious and angry and upset about abortion, they come out in the thousands up to the millions to say, this is what we believe about abortion. Where is the white outcry against white racism that murders African people all around this entire globe? It doesn't exist. So who are these white good people? I want to meet them. The institutions that we're talking about are not saving the minds of those African children. Listen, you know who saved me? A man named John DeSane in Englewood, New Jersey, who told me who I was, who showed me my history, who told me who my enemies were, who let me know that this was not an easy world, who let me know that this was a cold environment, who let me know what he's not a part of is dilly-dallying with the minds of African children and letting them know
What would Muhammad Ali have said about the recent murder of Mike Brown in Ferguson, Missouri? Would Muhammad Ali have contemplated the loss of income or seriously considered the possible alienation and condemnation of his white promoters and friends? Would Muhammad Ali have remained silent to the savage act of racial brutality that took place in Ferguson, Missouri? Would the greatest of all time have traveled to Ferguson and marched in protest to the brutal murder of Mike Brown? The following video clip is indicative of how Muhammad Ali would have utilized his fame and celebrity status in Ferguson, Missouri. Following the video clip, I will expound on the attitudes of contemporary Negro celebrities as it relates to their participation in the protests taking place in Ferguson, Missouri.
But as of now, money means nothing to me, nor boxing when it comes to the freedom of your people. So everything I'm doing, if it means hitchhike tomorrow, if it means be raggedy, if it means look for a job, I'll be happy because I can go to bed, my conscience is clear, and I didn't sell out or trade my people just because I could be rich in Hollywood with a yacht out here on my, that could be my yacht right there. Imagine it's valued at $200,000, but I wouldn't want that damn yacht if I couldn't go back over in the black neighborhood and protest a black woman being raped. The hell with the yacht, the hell with the championship. So I want the people to know this, you understand?
Famous black entertainers, celebrated black sport figures, and renowned religious leaders highly esteemed by African Americans neither spoke out nor showed up in Ferguson, Missouri to protest the brutal murder of Mike Brown. The most eminent and distinguished black celebrities and black public figures in America declined to publicly express their discontentment and anguish regarding the barbaric murder of Mike Brown. America's most notable black elites remained mute and refrained from exhibiting the slightest manifestation of discontent. Contemporary African American celebrities, which I will refer to as Negroes, did not lift their voices and demand that black youth stop being the target of institutional racism. The absolute silence of this so-called master class of Negro celebrities must not be overlooked, but rather spotlighted. The mindset of this so-called master class of Negro celebrities in 2014 is just the opposite of their parents and grandparents that lived in the 1960s. How was it possible for bold, courageous, daring, and lion-hearted African Americans in the 1960s to confront and successfully defeat a well-armed mass of rabid-minded racists? They had true grit and courage. How was it possible in only one generation for America to produce a population of submissive Negroes? What caused the children of courageous men of great intestinal fortitude to become men with no backbone and conviction? This is truly a paradoxical behavioral phenomenon. The parents and grandparents of today's Negro celebrities forced change upon a 400-year-old racial tyranny, and they did it unarmed. This is what happened to the Negro children born after 1964 who descended from the brave civil rights warriors following the Second Civil War in American history. Urban renewal programs established by the Federal Housing Authority throughout the United States in the 1960s and 1970s resulted in the total destruction of black neighborhoods and the removal of African Americans from historically black communities. This political cataclysm destroyed all political, economic, social, and cultural gains African Americans had achieved within their segregated communities since the first Civil War. Desegregation was a disastrous event to African Americans. However, for white Americans, it was an economic windfall. White neighborhoods remained completely intact. Federal Jim Crow laws, disguised as urban renewal programs, not only forcibly removed African Americans from black neighborhoods, but removed black fathers from the household. Subversive housing legislation aimed at removing fathers from their families was complemented by introduction of the feminist movement and the ideology of female independence, financed by Jim Crow divorce and child support laws that encouraged women to establish single-parent households. The diabolical deconstruction of black neighborhoods and the insidious schemes to destroy the black family by removal of black fathers from the household produced the contemporary mindset held by today's Negro celebrities. Displaced by federal Jim Crow urban renewal programs, most black celebrities today grew up as minorities in dysfunctional communities and households. As a result, most, if not all, suffer from a lack of racial pride, racial cohesion, and a lack of moral fortitude. The mindset of the Negro master class of 2014 bears no resemblance to men like Marcus Garvey or Muhammad Ali, who were raised within stable African American neighborhoods. Clearly, Negro celebrities today are easily intimidated when confronted with issues involving institutional racism and racial injustice. They need not be told twice by their white European producers and managers to refrain from making public comments concerning institutional racism. Disenfranchised by Jim Crow desegregation laws and forcibly removed from economically stable black neighborhoods, contemporary black celebrities have been indoctrinated and selectively integrated into a white nationalist society. Unlike their parents and grandparents, contemporary black celebrities have embraced and internalized an American culture their parents and grandparents were never given. To their demise, contemporary black celebrities have believed the hype. The detrimental effect of this artificial culture is exemplified in the psychotic personalities of men such as Lil Wayne and Sammy Sosa. Black celebrities today have abandoned all cultural ties to pre-desegregation African American communities. Today's celebrity Negroes may be identified as Negropeans. The mindset of these Negropeans has undergone a paradigm shift and rejects any measure of black nationalism or any ideal of securing the possession of resources for the exclusive development of African Americans. The Negro master celebrity class of 2014 advocates white nationalism only. The master class of celebrity Negroes today proves their loyalty and allegiance to white Europeans by remaining silent in the midst of a national outcry for an end to institutional racism and the barbaric mistreatment of African Americans. In other words, the master class of celebrity Negroes in 2014 have thrown the common nigger under the bus. Negropeans have closed their eyes and allowed a European Trojan horse mentality to penetrate their minds. When they finally open their eyes, the damage will be irreparable. 20th century urban renewal not only removed African Americans from their historical neighborhoods, but recreated a new African American mindset, a Negropean mindset. Imagine the impact a unified protest would have on Jim Crow institutions in Ferguson, Missouri, and throughout the United States if such protests were composed of renowned black celebrities. Eradication of the savage racial brutality evidence in Ferguson, Missouri will never happen as long as influential black celebrities continue to be complacent and tolerant of institutional racism. Institutional racism in America will continue to be the norm as long as renowned black entertainers allow themselves to be used as a sign of ostensible racial equality in America. Images of the decadent lifestyles enjoyed by wealthy black entertainers is paraded in front of African Americans every day to conceal the true conditions of racial oppression and institutional racism that exists in America. Black celebrities in the entertainment and religious arena must realize that the fantasy world they are allowed to live in was made possible only when their parents and grandparents had the audacity to stand up and demand an end to Jim Crow racial oppression. The opportunities now enjoyed by black entertainers did not become a reality because white Americans all of a sudden had a change of heart and decided on their own to provide equal employment opportunities to black Americans. There has never been and never will be an uncompromised, unilateral humanitarian grant of genuine racial equality for African Americans by European rulers. The cruel treatment and daily humiliation of African Americans by white Europeans will only change when African Americans decide enough is enough and engage in a unified civil protest. Black celebrities and religious leaders who now worship material riches and crave the personal glorification and honor of men ought to understand earthly possessions shall not accompany them to their graves. No U-Hauls will follow you to your gravesite. And when the last shovel of dirt is thrown on your grave, no one shall remember you for the riches you possessed. Black celebrities have an unquenchable thirst for material riches, and the praise and honor of wicked Europeans who control their purse strings will invariably find themselves in a precarious and dishonorable position when matters of institutional racism surfaces. When black celebrities place the riches of this world and the glory that comes with riches above the pursuit of justice for African Americans and above the pursuit of humanitarian equality for African Americans, they will leave an unnoted legacy, a legacy that can only be defined as the cowardly existence of a bewitched generation of Negroes who worshipped material riches. In the midst of brutal racial subjugation now taking place in Ferguson, Missouri, and throughout America, black celebrities remain speechless and silent. The silence of their voices is loudly heard. Their physical absence in Ferguson, Missouri is conspicuous. It has become apparently clear that black celebrities, including black celebrity preachers, no longer believe they are oppressed and subjugated African Americans. This new class of American Negroes see themselves as the chosen ones that have arrived and denounced the existence of racism in American society. As a new black American female billionaire put it, this new class of dreamers may be called the master class. While black celebrity preachers proclaim to follow Jesus Christ, their cowardly silence in the midst of satanic warfare reveals 1, they are filled with the spirit of fear, and 2, they are observed not following Christ, but rather running away from Christ. Unlike Martin Luther King Jr., today black religious celebrities are shown to practice a doctrine never taught by Jesus Christ. Today, black celebrity preachers and black celebrity entertainers are both ruled by Europeans who control their purse strings. Black celebrity preachers do not follow the gospel of Christ, but rather follow men and women who are willing to give them money. Black celebrity preachers follow the money and laws prescribed by men that allow them to exist as 501c3 nonprofit corporations. Scripture says that you cannot serve God and man at the same time. Celebrity preachers worship and serve the interests of their 501c3 nonprofit corporations. The truth is, 501c3 celebrity preachers are not allowed to follow Jesus, but are expressly prohibited by law from engaging in political protests against institutional racism. The truth is, black celebrity preachers are prohibited from pursuing the ways of Jesus by denouncing racial injustice when their proclamations oppose the laws of men. Prosperity preachers are only allowed the freedom to pursue an unlimited amount of tax-free money as long as they agree not to interfere with political entities that allow them to exist as religious corporations. Freedom of religion has been reduced to freedom to follow the money. In contrast to docile celebrity preachers who adamantly proclaim to follow Jesus, Jesus is shown in the Bible as a man that frequently admonished the wicked rulers in his day and engaged in rebellious protests against institutional injustice and hypocrisy. Unlike their parents and grandparents, contemporary black celebrity entertainers have become intoxicated and bewitched by their sudden and unexpected accumulation of riches. In reality, the purpose of black celebrities is to create the illusion of racial equality in a racially unjust society. The selected integration of black celebrities into the white entertainment industry is not a humanitarian act in the best interest of African Americans. This is clearly evidenced by the self-destructive content of gangster rap music consumed by young black children. The same Europeans that control black celebrities also control the political, social, and economic institutions that oppress the general black population through Jim Crow legislation and systematic police brutality. Other than indoctrinating young people into a culture of self-destruction, the only purpose for the selective integration of black celebrities is to project the false illusion that African Americans in general are treated fairly without regard to race. However, this new master class of black celebrities are not allowed to either voice their opinions, march in the streets, and otherwise protest the savage treatment of young black men gunned down weekly in the streets of America. This new class of Negro celebrities have sold their racial identity and abandoned their racial heritage in exchange for riches and vainglory. Unlike the intangibles of racial dignity and self-respect, material riches perish with men that possess them. Unlike their parents and grandparents, this generation of bamboozled black celebrities will leave nothing for their children and grandchildren but a legacy of self-hatred, idolatry, and a lost opportunity to advance the progression of racial equality for African Americans. Like Muhammad Ali, stand up and speak out against racial injustice.
In all of the programs that I attended, all of the education that I had, college, public, and otherwise, nobody ever told me that I was an African woman. Nobody ever told me what the history of African people were. Nobody ever told me that America is business and without business you will have nothing and be nothing. And nobody ever told me how to organize business so that I would be able to develop institutions in my own community. So now the sincerity of all of the programs and all of the education has to be questioned, indicted, and convicted, because the bottom line is that America is not and has never tried to produce African adults who are functional, self-sufficient, who understand their politics, their economics, and their relationship to the world politics and the world economics. See, there was a period of time in this country after Reconstruction where African people owned a lot of land, owned a lot of businesses, and did a lot of things. But what happened was the American government, the Ku Klux Klan, and other organizations organized in smashing that effort. So it's not that we haven't tried to own lands and have not organized businesses. It's that if you are African in America, or in Latin America, or in the Caribbean, or in the continent, you will be hunted no matter what you do, because they do not want us to survive and become self-sufficient. And you can say no, but you haven't lived this life. You're making a moral appeal to a country that doesn't have a moral conscience. The question becomes that when white people feel serious and angry and upset about abortion, they come out in the thousands up to the millions to say, this is what we believe about abortion. Where is the white outcry against white racism that murders African people all around this entire globe? It doesn't exist. So who are these white good people? I want to meet them. I want to see them. A few is not enough.
But that might be all we can get.
No. And guess what? I don't work with all I can get. What I work with is what I have. Listen, you have to have some confidence in the power of African people amongst ourselves to establish a foundation.
We have.
No, we haven't. We have utter chaos in our cities, and you got
There's
to
no
say
black
that.
institutions we
You
can build?
can have a program.
I'm
not saying we've built a lot of institutions, and those institutions have not been effective. The majority of millions of African youth in this country are dying mentally, dying spiritually, dying emotionally, dying academically. And you may have a program, Mr. Brown may have a program, but what we got to talk about is an American government that tracks millions of African people who don't go to your program, don't go to Brown's program. Millions of African people, not only here, but all around the world. And if we are not honest enough to say who are our friends, who are our enemies, to know what a friend is, to know what an enemy is, we will constantly be trying to get into people's parties, to shake our butts with them, to get them to like us, and that's not the question. The question is, what can we build amongst ourselves to secure ourselves from our enemies so that we will be able to survive into the future? The institutions that we're talking about are not saving the minds of those African children. That is the honest truth. None of these Negroes saved me. None of these Negroes.
Your mother didn't help save you?
None of them. Listen, you know who saved me? A man named John DeSane in Englewood, New Jersey, who told me who I was, who showed me my history, who told me who my enemies were, who let me know that this was not an easy world, who let me know that this was a cold environment, who let me know that what he's not a part of is dilly-dallying with the minds of African children and letting them know what the real situation is in America.